Hi everyone, this is Darren from SimNation. Just doing a continuation of the Zero to Hero series for SNCFL. In this case, I'm playing Notre Dame. For those of you not familiar with the series, it's where I take a team that has historically underperformed and I try to get them to the playoffs in the first season. Normally, I take the team right after the season flip, so I only have enough time to hire staff and do off-season recruiting, which generally is not really good. So we're into week three. Just a quick recap. First game lost. Defense did really good. Offense, not really all that good. You can see Alexander Stevenson had a pretty good game. It's not really good when you think about it. It's 34 attempts, 108 yards. He's only averaging like 3 yards per carry, a little bit above that. So nothing to write home about. Week two, Baylor was ranked. Baylor got knocked out of being ranked 34-23. Much better performance here. We'll talk about the quarterback play in a moment, but Juan Morris, the wide receiver, was turning out to be a stud. And then, of course, played DWK. He's Georgia Southern um, on the road. And again, Georgia Southern was ranked. I think they were like number 23 and really won what was essentially a defensive battle. So if we look at the stats real quick, and the only reason why I'm showing you this is it's going to play into some of the things you see me do. I'm not happy with the quarterback play. Yeah, I've got over 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's decent, but the percentage is really bad. I'm throwing a lot of incompletions, and I'm going to have to address that. The accuracy model I'm trying isn't working, so I'm probably going to flip starting now to a arm model, meaning I'm going to start throwing the ball long because I do have a quarterback can do it. We'll talk about quarterbacks in a moment. Rushing wise, I'm not really happy with Stevenson. Yeah, he's averaging roughly about 80 yards a game, but it's just not doing it. So Martinez is going to get the start, and I'll talk about why in a moment. Receiving wise, I mentioned Morris. Morris is having a really good season. I'm really happy with it. You can see 18.9 yards per catch. Jason Bridges is someone I need to get into the offense a little bit more with 18.4, and then Roger Cox is doing pretty well. We'll look at those in a little bit more detail. Defensively, this team is doing really well. And in fact, it's the defense right now that's carrying it. I'm not getting a lot of picks, but I didn't expect that given the fact that I've converted quite a few people into quarterbacks and defensive backs. My linebacker was leading. That's never something you really want to see. But we'll talk about the play of the cornerbacks in a moment because it's actually decent. It's just they're not getting turnovers. Sack wise, you can see they are sacking the crap out of everyone. And that's not because I'm doing 100% blitz. They're playing well within the system that I've given, which is a 4-3. Knockdowns, again, I'm a big fan of knockdowns. Knockdowns to me is as important as a sack. So you can see William Mullen is really doing well, and that's a story that I hope keeps continuing. Hurries is the same thing. To me, a hurry is the same as a sack, because traditionally in this game it means that the person had to dump the ball. Forced fumbles, they are doing okay, not great. Not again, not getting a lot of turnovers, and that's something I'm gonna have to focus on. Pass defenses, they're doing really good. This is actually really good. Now, something that I've talked about before, and I'll just bring it up again. One of the things I watched during the season is target versus catches allowed. Um, Generally speaking, I want that number to be 50% or lower. So to me, Gunnar Holt, Joshua Groves, Anderson Meredith, Ezra Boren, John Conley, sorry, took me a second to get his name, are doing really good, and then so's Tristan Cardle. Uh, Mario Flores, I don't think I'm as worried about with him because he's normally going against the best wide receiver. His pass defenses are really low, so I may need to look at that. But like Gunnar Holt this is what I want to see in a cornerback. And again, this is also what I want to see. Will people aren't getting a lot of completions off them, and they're also getting pass defenses. As we go through the rest of the thing, I'm not going to bore you with the rest, but not giving up a lot of sacks, that's something I want to see. On average, my goal for like linemen is not to give up more than 4 sacks in a season. Ideally, I'd like 0, but that's not always possible. So my line is doing kind of what they want to. or what I want them to do more appropriately. So I'm struggling with completions, and if you remember my quarterback situation is I have two really good accuracy quarterbacks in these two. What I think is playing into this is one is skill, and then two is intelligence. The plays are lined right for them to be successful, but they're just not completing the passes. And I don't think it's the wide receivers, and I don't think it's the offensive line that's driving that. I think it's just low intelligence. So the decision I'm gonna make is I'm gonna go ahead and make a change. I'm gonna let Houston start starting. He has an arm of 90, so I gotta change the offense for him. Glenn is gonna become the backup because he's the smartest of the bunch, and then I'll put Sands at third. I can't put Shavo because he's hurt. Same thing here as if we look at my running backs. Stevenson's not bad. He's fast. He's got good hands. But what I think's happening here is his strength and agility are kind of not working to his favor. So the reason why I'm gonna make a change with Martinez is he's stronger. He's more agile. He's also smarter. And while he's not as fast, he's got decent hands. The other person I'm gonna look at moving up a little bit is Waylon. And the reason for that is Waylon has good speed. His hands aren't great, but he's got good agility. None of them are really skilled. If I was going to go skilled, I'd have to go with Varela and Fleming, and I'm not going to do that because neither of them are really all that great. So we're going to make a change here. We're going to bring Raylan. I'm going to drop Stevenson down. Wide receivers, again, I think the wide receivers are doing what I want them to do. I do need to think about where I can put Jason Bridges. I may have an opportunity because I think Cox is out, if I remember correctly, and he is. Um, so what I'm probably going to do is move, let's see what Bridges is. So again, Bridges got good speed, decent agility. He's not a burner, and I really don't want a burner though, by the way. But what I may do is move Sadler over to Hill and then move, for now, I'm going to move Overron up and then I'm going to keep Bridges where he is and then we will just move Mr. Boyd up to Hill and then I'll bring Mr. Allen there. I don't need to make any changes on tight end or line. Again, they're doing what I want them to do, so no reason to change there. We're going to bounce over to backup and reset the backup so that way I get the right package in. Defense, other than having to deal with Daniel Stamper's injury, uh, defense is again doing what I want them to do. So in this case, we're going to bring K up. We'll bring Horsley up. And then I'll probably make Mac Masters the uh, other one. Just put him there. And again, as you can see, Flores is CB1, so he's going against traditionally best wide receiver. Gunnar Holt is having a good season. I don't need to make a change in the secondary, and I'm not going to. Again, just going to bounce over to backup, set it so that it gives me what I want, and it didn't in that case. So we're just going to make a change here. I think it was total. It doesn't matter. Um, and don't need to make any changes on special teams. Now, I'm going to completely redo some things, but when I game plan and I know who my opponent is, so there have been some games. First thing I do is always look over here and I see what is their tendency in terms of scoring, what is their tendency in terms of focus. Um, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to that team. So the way I normally do is go to schedule. I'm going to bounce over to Army. I do look at matchup, but matchup doesn't really give me much other than I can look here quickly and see that they're really throwing the ball quite a bit more than they are running it. They have some injuries on their line that's important because I can maybe use that against them. Their defense is not extremely good. They do have a good rushing defense. The pass defense isn't bad, but it's not something I'm gonna really worry about. So I'll go over to Army and take a look at them. And what I'm going to really look for here is I'm going to look at each of the last few games from a box score perspective. And what I'm really looking for here is the amount of times that they passed or run. So you can see a lot of passes, much more so than runs. Um, and I can kind of see what they're doing on first down. It looks like they're throwing the ball on first down a lot more than they are running it, which probably means that first and 10 they're throwing it. First and short they're running it. Um, so no, yeah. So first and 10 I may want to do a run package, but I'm going to go with a pass package. And again, when I look at second down, again, you see that they are traditionally throwing it more than they're running it. So I just got to keep that in the back of my mind. I'm gonna look at the plays that they're running and just see if there's anything that worries me. Um, I don't really see anything. It looks like they have a few long passes, but mostly it looks like medium stuff. I'll do the same thing with UTEP, just see what they did here, go again to play analysis. And again, it looks like they ran the ball a little bit more in this one, but not successfully. Can look over here and see what it was that UTIP was doing. I can't see the exact defense, but if I wanted to, I might be able to use this playbook in order to do things, but I won't because I hate jet sweeps. And again, looking here to see if there's anything strange going on. They're doing a lot of inside running when they do run the ball. They have some outside running, so nothing that stands out. So what I'm gonna do is go back to Notre Dame. I'm gonna go back to strategy. I'm gonna change this over to this. I'll leave that at 1 because I want to call my plays. I'll do that. Um, we'll probably kick this up to like 25. And by the way, that's arbitrary. That's just based on my personal experience. I am going to make some changes here because I have a new playbook that I'm going to use, and this is more tilted towards the long passing game than the short passing game. So I'm just going to do this. Normally when I start, I'm going to drop this to 40 because I do want to run the ball a little bit. And then I'll leave everything else like that. Game plan, I'm going to take a look through here. I'm going to keep it conservative, normal. Passing preference, I normally put that on none because I just don't want to deal with it. In this case, I moved Sadler to the first slot, so I probably don't want him getting the ball, so I'm going to go to Orville. Stevenson is kind of going to the bench, so I'm going to put Martinez here. I don't need to have a goal line back. Um, we'll go to balanced. Um, and then again, not much pass. I don't want to change much here. Generally, this has been working. I'll leave it alone. I do long pass even if I think that you're going outside, just because I want to take away the long pass from a game opponent. Now, if we go to the offense, if I was going to be updating my playbook, I'd be looking at this and I would be saying, okay, anything that's short that is less than 4 or 3.5, I want to get rid of it. This is indicative of a lot of incompletions because 6 called, only 1.5 gain. I would normally just can that. Same thing with crosses, 2.7. I need to can that. I'll leave this one in just because I've only done it once. But again, what I'm looking for is if it's a short passing game, 3.5 or more. If it's medium, 5.5 or more. And then if it's long, I traditionally want 7, uh, if not over 10. Running, same thing, 3.5 or more on rushing plays, ideally 4 or more. But these are good running plays, good pass plays. This one's okay. It's a short out, but what I'm worried about is I've done it 16 times, 3.7. Again, this is probably one of those where I'm getting a lot of incompletions, so I'm going to can it. 3, 4, 7, I'm good with that. Good with that. These are good. Good. Still good. This one, I'll leave it in, even though I've only done it once. Corners, again, it's not bad, but it's not great. I'll keep it in. Counter left, not great numbers, but I'll leave them in because I've got to have at least 10 run plays. RB out, this one's not doing well. Plus, I've thrown in an interception, so I'm going to can it. Sweep right, keep that one in. Slants, not great, but again, still I'll keep it in. Tight end Cluttle is not really working. Gonna can it. I'll keep this one in only because it's one. Again, these are good numbers. Stretch left. Those are really horrible. I'm gonna get rid of them both. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go in, look at two tight end, and I'm gonna add 1 to 2 more running plays. I don't really want my quarterback running the option because I don't need him to get hurt. So what I'm probably going to look here is I'll just put these two. Um, yeah, I'll just do those two and then maybe look uphill to see is there a pro set play. Will I have a chance to run the ball? Just put these two in and see if I've already done those. So I'm going to go now look and see what do those actually do. I think I should be fine though. Um, and then again looking here, so we should be good. That's what I would do if I was going to actually use this playbook, and I just updated it. It doesn't hurt me because if I have to switch back, I have it. Now, when I go through my defensive playbooks, what I'm looking for here is generally I want plays to be 3.5 or less or 4 or less. If I have things that are like this 7 and 9s, I want to get rid of them. So far, so good. Um, this is really a pass play. I may keep this. I'll keep it for now. Um, it's not horrible. It's just not great either. This one definitely has to go. And then I'll just keep doing this week over week until I get to a playbook that I'm really good with. As you can see, like we talked at the beginning of the season, I'm running a 4-3. I will run some 5-2 because I have the lineman for it. And then I'm running a 4 front. So the most important thing with defense is understanding what you have and what you don't have. If you have fast linebackers, you can probably run a 4 linebacker, which means a 3 front. If you have not so many fast linebackers, you're going to probably want to run a 3 linebacker core, which means you're going to run a 4 defensive lineman front. If you have lots of depth at defensive end, defensive tackle, don't be afraid to run a 5-2. Just make sure you understand when you're running a 5-2 whose will, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So my run is good. Pass, hill, again, the standard is 6 or less. Um, so again, that's bad. Bad. Oops, bad. Okay, not great. Bad. Bad. Double man is normally good. I like double man. I like T-double. I'll keep those only because I like the play, but I'm going to have to take a look after this game and see what I want to do there. And then this is the other one, which is the new playbook I'm using. Fairness, I'm cheating. I'm using Maryland's playbook. So I don't like this play. Going to get rid of that. I'll get rid of that because they're not running the ball well. Um, those are fine. Get rid of that. And some of these I am just going to be okay with only because of the fact that I haven't really run these before. So we're just going to try it and see what happens. Again, the reason why I'm okay with going with this for the most part is because of the fact that up until now I've been playing an accuracy passing game, which means short. Now I'm suddenly going long, but I've changed my quarterback, so I'm okay with potentially that this is going to be okay. Now, if I really wanted to be out there, what I could do is just say that I'm going to go with first and short, second and short. I'm going to use this playbook, third and short, and then fourth and short. And I do this frequently where actually, if I were to show you Maryland, you'd see 3 different playbooks that I use. So that's kind of that. There was something I was going to show you, and now I just got to remember it. Let's see if I can't jog my memory real quick. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. So one of the most important things is, especially on defense, is look at your depth. Is looking at formation view. So 4-3, it tells me who the linebackers are. This is kind of important to know. So we'll do 5-2 because I want to make sure that when I look at Randall Oliver and Anderson Meredith, that because I'm playing a 5-2, that they are actually got enough speed to do what they need to do, and I may have to move them. So Meredith doesn't really have great speed, but in general, I don't have great speed. Uh, yeah, so what I may want to do is kind of move Meredith for branch. Put Meredith Hill. Um, and then I'll take a look again and make sure that that gives me what I want. Oliver and Branch. Looking again at Oliver, he's got good speed. Branch has got good tackling. The only problem I have with Branch is he's not very strong, which is the reason why Meredith was starting. We're just going to leave Meredith though. Mostly just because I like my inside linebackers to actually have strength. So we'll go back here and we'll put Branch back. And then of course, like if I want to look at the dime, because I run dime, it also tells me who's playing and who's will. Again, Meredith is in the middle. I could change that if I wanted to, but I'm gonna leave it just because the defense is doing very well. I do look at training throughout the season and just take a look. So I'm probably gonna change this. Conley's good, Houston's good. I'm probably gonna change this up to have him focus on Meredith. Again, I keep it at 20 during the season. You don't have to. You can go up to 22. It's just I don't want to have to deal with injury. It's the last thing I want to have is people fatigued. Outside of that, that's kind of how this will look. We'll go and export this real quick. And that's just what I'll do throughout the season. Now, I am going to come up with a video about 3-4 and 5-2 defenses because some people have asked me to do that. Generally, it's going to be a matter of what works and what doesn't, and what you have and what you don't. If you look at my roster, like for defense, and I went into this in the initial video, is the reason why I went with a forefront is I had lots of strength on my line, and I could use that. I don't really have speed, so a 3-4 is not great for me. My linebackers are okay, but they're not great. Defensive line, I do have speed. I also do have strength, so a forefront is pretty good for me. Um, and then linebacker wise, again, my linebackers are not great. They're decent, but also I have to keep in mind that some of my linebackers are converted. So generally speaking, I could run a 3-4 if I wanted to, but if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would have four decently fast linebackers. And generally, my rule of thumb for running a 3-4 is I want four linebackers with over 80 and then two backups with over 80. If I don't have that, I'm going to settle for 79. But once you drop below 78 or 77, it's really not effective in my eyes. Um, Also, with a 3-4, you need to be able to eat up space. So I don't have anyone has a 90 in strength. I do have two people with 88 and 87. They probably could eat that space up. But at the same time, generally, I like to have at least two people with 70 on the ends and then a person with a 90 in strength in the middle because he's going to have to act like a nose tackle. Um, so that's just generally how I do it. Hopefully you find this video helpful. I'll do another one after we run the next week. Right now, SNCFL is in the third week going into the fourth week. If you're interested in joining us, we have some really good teams still open. There's already some drama starting around the league in terms of some big matchups coming, like I think Iowa State, Colorado is this week, as well as there's a couple of big games in the ACC. And then, of course, as we move further down the road, there'll be some other big games. Um, One of the things I will say is if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, I'm not sure I'm going to make the playoffs. I should beat Army. I think I can take Minnesota. I'm pretty sure they'll beat Massachusetts. But Syracuse and UCLA are two games I'm not sure I'm going to be able to win. Definitely UCLA because that's Stewart. Syracuse is DP. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. In order to make the playoffs, I can't afford to lose more than three. Um, and even three is pushing it. If I lose to UCLA, I think I'm fine. But I pretty much have to win the rest of the games because I lost that game to Houston. And in fairness, at the time, Houston was ranked, and of course, they just took a nosedive after that. So hopefully, you find value in this, and if you do, let me know. And if there's a topic you want me to cover, just let me know. Have a great night. Thanks.